your nationality, your family, your height and physical abilities, the month or year you were born, the symmetry of your face, your genetic predispositions, your level of intelligence and psychological makeup, your talents, and even the way your body distributes and processes fat. All these factors play a significant role in how you're treated in life and are all things you did not consciously choose. Now, getting into another layer, everything that happened to you from infancy to early childhood were all experiences beyond your control or will. Around this stage of life, you were completely dependent on the people and circumstances around you. You had little will, if any, and whatever will you could have developed, you still lacked the awareness and physical abilities to impress it because of your still developing brain and fragile body. You were at the complete mercy of causal forces and happenings around you. And now, as a thinking adult possessing the apparent ability to enforce your will, I'll make the argument that not much has changed. Causal forces still dictate, and we often find ourselves with limited options in reacting to them. And most times, we're not even aware or have access to all possible options. And some decisions deliver better outcomes than others. Take, for instance, an approaching natural force like a hurricane about to impact your area. At that point, you might have the option to leave your area, prepare your home and stay, or even ignore the warnings. But those are your only options. The option you do not have is the ability to stop the hurricane altogether. That's an example of a causal force you're simply going to have to deal with one way or another. If you're an adult with some means, you will have a few options with smaller options within those few options. If you're a person with no means, or even worse, a child, you have no options other than what nature and the people you're dependent on decide for you. And getting back to the options to leave, prepare, or ignore, any one of those choices can end up leading to the best or worst outcomes. It may turn out where leaving was the best decision because your home ended up completely flooded or destroyed. Or it may turn out that staying and preparing was the best decision because your home was able to weather the storm because you were present and in position to prevent further would-be damage. Or ignoring could have been the best, though least advisable decision because the storm didn't affect your specific neighborhood at all, and you were able to avoid the stress and cost of leaving or preparing. But as the storm was approaching, no matter what option you ended up choosing, you had no control over the path and effects of the storm itself. It was a causal force brought on by other causal happenings beyond your control. This is why whatever damage is caused by the storm, no one person gets blame or credit for it. It's well understood by everyone it was a causal force beyond everyone's will, despite the amount of prayers to stop it from happening. Just like in our lives, we're often faced with the only option of grinning and bearing our experiences. Now in life, we do seem to have the ability to make decisions that can determine our levels of fortune and success. But be aware that those decisions you made were based on limited options available and aware to you. And these available options have a lot to do with situations and happenings beyond your control or even conscious awareness. Did your parents have means or connections? Did they take interest in developing your talent or supporting your goals? Did you have a friend, family member, or mentor that was able to connect you with the people in position for where you want to be? Who helped you to even recognize what you're capable of and what you should pursue in the first place? How's your health and psychological predispositions? What events and situations in your early childhood affected your self esteem or perseverance of will? Sometimes a seemingly bad happening can lead to a desired result, but again, you didn't plan or calculated that outcome. Most times, we're just left in the position of trying to remain as positive thinking as possible to at least keep ourselves in the best mental state possible to take advantage of a break or opportunity that may or may not come around. But what else can we do, since negative thinking gives us no chance at all to take advantage of a possible opportunity, no matter how unlikely? We usually call these things that help us stay somewhat positive or hopeful through failures and undesirable circumstances copes, quote unquote. It's hard to find someone without at least one, since even people in seemingly way better circumstances than ourselves experience unavoidable pain and challenges in this reality. And if we're able to look close enough, we'll see them coping in their own ways as well. Copes come in different forms of beliefs and existential outlooks, and oftentimes the things we frequently engage in for comfort or support. These copes can be considered positive if denial and self-harm or harm to others aren't the requirements, which can often be the case. But make no mistake, the reason we find coping necessary for survival is because circumstances beyond our awareness or control affect us and everyone around us in one way or another. This dovetails into the topic of luck. Luck is defined as the chance happening of events, quote unquote, or, even more extent, one's personal fate or lot, quote unquote. Either way, luck is describing events that affect us beyond our awareness, plans, or calculations. And that's the sense in which I'll be referring to it. You're a qualified person applying for a job amongst other qualified individuals. You getting a call in for that job can simply come down to what position in the pile of resumes your resume was positioned in. And even if you get called in for an interview, it can be something as simple as your smile, or structure of your face, your age range, or sound of your voice. You can credit or blame the outcome of you getting or not getting the job on your interview skills, but keep in mind there were other skilled interviewees as well. Like a lot of things in life, we find ourselves in the position of simply thinking as positively as we can while preparing the best we know how and relying on luck to do or unfold everything else. It's not uncommon for someone to work twice as hard as someone else, yet get only half the success as the other person. Maybe that other person was just more naturally gifted, where the desired results came easier for them. Okay, fine. But what can be even more perplexing to some is the hardworking and gifted person that gets less results out of life compared to the less hardworking, less talented person. This is where some might look into the factors outside of effort and talent and see what factors mostly beyond that person's control can become apparent. Similar to the guy chasing the girl who never seems to find him attractive. No amount of gift giving or even self-improvement can gain her genuine affection. Rather than dealing with the unnecessary jealousy and frustration of watching her choose other men over him and asking himself, what's that guy got that I don't? It'll be realistic and in his best interest to understand, due to forces beyond his control, he's simply not her type, and his focus will be better served towards other pursuits for his own sanity and peace. Point is, luck falls on who it does beyond our reasonings. So when you're watching the successful professional or entrepreneur giving their hard work and dedication and how they overcame adversity speech, pay attention to their level of intelligence, the people in their lives that supported them at different points, or what chance encounters or events took place in their lives that normally wouldn't happen for most, if they even choose to mention these things at all. Remember, Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk didn't work a billion times harder than you to be a billion times richer, nor are they a billion times smarter. Far from it. There's a saying that if hard work alone got people rich, then all construction workers will be driving Lamborghinis. Of course, financial accomplishments aren't the only or real measure of success, but we find ourselves in a zero-sum Hunger Game survival reality. And if survival is someone's main focus, then the impact of money cannot be denied. Remember those factors I listed at the beginning of this presentation? And the almost infinite combination of ways they can play out to affect someone's life? This is why some people get into astrology in their attempt to figure out the seemingly advanced calculus factors that makes an individual life play out how it does. There are individuals who've lived life in every way our parents told us not to, even surviving multiple gunshots and life-threatening situations that would be the end of the story for most. Yet these individuals are now living more thriving lives than most hardworking individuals who did everything seemingly right. What role is fate or luck playing here? Is it just their strong will and self-belief to overcome, as many would have us believe? Now, of course, these individuals' current state does not tell the whole story, nor do we know how their lives will ultimately play out. But we don't know how our own lives will ultimately play out either. The reason there's philosophies centered around fatalism, existentialism, determinism, absurdism, or even nihilism is because many have observed and wrestled with the fact that our lives are heavily influenced by circumstances beyond our control and awareness, and with little knowledge as to why. And coming up with the best ways to explain this phenomena while still holding on to a positive outlook becomes essential if we want to experience any level of happiness and worth about the existence we find ourselves in that's giving little to no answers. What is clear to anyone giving any kind of thoughtful consideration is control and outcome are things that are not easily possessed or determined by us, if at all. This isn't meant to have someone not put in effort or take accountability for their actions, but to simply understand that actions are merely reactions to causal circumstances beyond our awareness, and everyone's experience and outcome in this realm should be met with compassion and consideration about what we might be in first and foremost.